Manchester United have got a lot wrong in recent years. There's been a lot of things about Manchester United that a lot of fans aren't happy about. But there's one thing about Manchester United that I think we've always done very well in, and that is the academy. We've had some amazing academy talents, and even if not all of them work, Garnacho, Rashford, even if the endings weren't the best, you can't deny they're good talents that we can get good money from. We've got an incredible talent in Mano, who unfortunately isn't getting the minutes right now. But the players at Carrington right now is one of the most exciting lot of players we've had in years. We're talking JJ Gabriel, known as Kid Messi. Barcelona want him. Arsenal want him. Everyone wants him. He's been linked to Arsenal, but Arsenal aren't getting in there. We've got Shea Lacey, Thwiates, Jack Fletcher, among many names being spoken about. Shea Lacey even in England training this week with the first team. On top of that, United are signing a lot of young players. They signed Seko Kona for the midfield. They signed that Cristiano Rosico guy from Colombia. They're also working on a deal to bring in another midfield signing, in Mohamed Dabo, that seems to be pretty close. Romano's given updates on that. We will talk about other stories as well. Baleba apparently wants out of Brighton and could be on his way to Manchester United in the January window. Manchester United are organising some friendly games in Saudi Arabia to bring in money for future signings and more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, update, roundup show, where we're going to talk about all the latest Manchester United news and round it up into a 10-minute video for you guys. If you do enjoy today's video, feel free to hit that like button, and if you want to stay up to date with daily Manchester United news, feel free to subscribe down below if you're new. Let's dive into it. So the Mail Sport said this in response to rumours of Arsenal trying to get JJ Gabriel. Basically, we took Chido Obi off Arsenal, we took Aiden Heaven off Arsenal. If we can take Max Dowman off Arsenal, please. That's probably not going to happen. And Arsenal are going to see if they could do the same back and take our best and most highest rated academy talent in JJ Gabriel. Talk of a potential move to Arsenal for JJ Gabriel is premature. Man United are ready to do whatever it takes to keep hold of the teenage Wonderkid, who's been nicknamed Kid Messi. So rumours of JJ Gabriel leaving Man United for Arsenal are premature. United are going to do what they can to keep hold of the guy. There was fears he could leave us for Barcelona this summer, but we managed to convince him to stay, which is good to see. But I always thought like if he is going to leave Manchester United, it would be for someone like Barcelona. I can't see him leaving Man United for Arsenal. He's obviously been signed by Nike at a ridiculously young age. He's known as Kid Messi, and I don't want to hype up our academy players too much because he's 15, but he's seen as the next Lamine Yamal. And he's the Lamine Yamal of our academy right now. He's incredibly highly rated, and if he keeps his head in the right place, he could go to the top. Now, actually, interestingly for the academy, he's not really been playing on the left. He's been playing more of a central role under Darren Fletcher, and in that central role, he has 7 goals and 1 assist. And you just got to remember, this is he's turned 15 a week ago. He turned 15 like a week ago. So this was a 14-year-old playing with 17 and 18-year-olds getting these numbers, which is ridiculous because you've got to remember, with puberty and everything, playing 3 years up at 14 is different to playing 3 years up at 18. Playing 3 years up at 14 is insane. He's now 15, and Max Dowman is one of the only other kids that was balling out in under 18s at that age. A lot of people come into under 18s at 16, 17, 18. He came in at 14 and was absolutely balling out with 7 goals and 1 assist in just 5 apps. But he's not just the goals and assists. He has been really good in those appearances. And Man United are going to do what they can to keep hold of him. And, there's plans of Ruben Amorim bringing him into first team training this season. And potentially when we go on tour at the end of the season, he'll have involvement a little bit like Max Dowman did. And then potentially next season, he could make his debut when he's a little bit older. Continuing on into other stories. Another player that's incredibly highly rated that I think goes under the radar a lot, because I think if you watch Thwiates, him in the first phase of play, how he can just get the ball on the turn and how press resistant he is absolutely ridiculous. Thwiates, not just 3 kicks, but in the first phase, the press resistance, the turning out, he's cheat code. Now, he's actually been training with the first team, and he is seen as one of the best technical talents in the academy. He's a phenomenal midfield player. And one source compares his play style on the ball to Barcelona-style Pedri. JJ Gabriel's the one that's spoken about. Shea Lacey, if it wasn't for the injuries, I think would be spoken about more, but there has been a lot of talk in regards to Shea Lacey in his future because he's playing with the England first team. But I think Thwiates is one that's massively slept on. And when people talk about him, they just talk about, free kicks. No. This guy on the ball has the technicality. Shea Lacey and Thwiates, for their age, the levels of technicality they have is insane. Shea Lacey gets compared to Phil Foden technically. Thwiates gets compared to Pedri. JJ Gabriel's been compared as the Lamine Yamal. Now, I don't hype up the academy too much because at the end of the day, we can have all these great academy players, but if we don't have the right manager, the right system, or the right environment for them to go into, we're going to make it harder for them to succeed. But we do have that Pedri-esque talent in Jim Thwaites, that Lamine Yamal potential-esque talent in JJ Gabriel, that potential Phil Foden-esque talent in someone like Shea Lacey. And it is exciting to know that we've potentially got that in the academy. And Nathan Salt said this: first team sources speak highly of Jack Fletcher, who's seen as the close to breakers into the group alongside Shea Lacey at this present moment. They're the two that have been most involved in first team training. Some people are saying, well, why isn't Sekou Kone be involved in first team training? Because he fractured his eye socket and he had a horrible injury, which is why Sekou Kone has not been involved. But I liked what we saw from Sekou Kone and Shea Lacey, particularly in the 10-minute cameos in the postseason tour. But Jack Fletcher and Shea Lacey seem closest to breaking in. Sekou Kone, if he wasn't injured, would probably be training with the first team. They seem the closest out of the academy stars to potentially get opportunities and break in. I think if we're in the Europa League and still in the Carabao Cup, I think there would actually be opportunities potentially for players to get 5-10 minutes. But because we've got barely any games, if Maino and Xerxes can't break in, you can't expect these players to break in. So weirdly, despite spending this video hyping up the academy, I actually don't really expect anyone to break in this season, which is a shame because I feel like under Ten Hag, someone did break in every season. But it is exciting, and this was reported earlier. Well, this was reported about a month ago that Shea Lacey trained with the first team today and yesterday with Ruben Amorim and impressed with his performances and training. And the club view him as one of their best talents. Shea Lacey's been called up to first team training a couple times. There's potential he could get his debut. He's probably seen right now as the closest to getting first team minutes, but he could also go out on loan. But the fact that he's also been called to train with the England first team says a lot. When he's had the injuries that he's had, when he's been out as much as he has, and he's right back in the England squad and right back in the training with the first team, like, it says a lot. So it's really exciting to see the academy talents United have. But interestingly, Man United is still doing recruitment to add to this. Fabrizio Romano came out and said this: Manchester United are pushing for the transfer of Mohamed Dabo, still working on formal and technical details of the transfer. Now, if you watch my channel a lot, you'll know that I've spoke about this guy a couple of times in the past. He was on trial at Manchester United last month. There was rumours that Man United were really close to signing this guy, coming out from sources in Africa. Other sources said, no, it's not close, blah, blah, blah. But he is on trial at Man United. Romano is now saying that we are pushing to do this deal. We are working on this deal. It's not an easy deal to do, but he's had the trial. We're happy with him. We're planning to do this deal. So this looks like it probably happened. I think sometimes these deals can take time. It can be complicated signing younger players. But I think Manchester United have got their next signing in the door, which is good news. And I think a lot of Man United fans will be happy to see this. Of course, it's not a first team signing. We want first team signings. But I think many Man United fans will be happy to see Sekou Kone, this Christian guy from Colombia, this Mohamed Dabo guy as well. I think Manchester United fans will be pleased to see the academy talent potentially coming in. Outside of the academy, there was news of matches in Saudi. It was said that there was discussions between the administrations of I'm not going to try and pronounce that club, and Manchester United to hold a friendly match between the two teams during the international break, but it was halted by United's hierarchy. The reason is that Manchester United will be playing against Al Hilal and Al Nassr in the Reader season, and apparently we can make 10+ million from this. And you know what? I'm actually all for this. And normally I'm like, oh, Glazers wanting to make money, Ineos want to make money, extra games. But realistically, we should have beat Grimsby, and we should have beat the team that we would have had to play after Grimsby. I think it would have been like Cheltenham or someone. So realistically, we should have had at least 2 more games this season because we shouldn't have gone out to Grimsby. And these are the 2 more games that we should have had. Because we're not playing many games, and I think this will be good for Xerxes and Maino to get some minutes in their legs as well. Also bring in some money. Also, it just helps us out. I'm actually all for these friendlies. I normally would be like, no, but I'm all for these friendlies. I was against the post-season tour, but I'm all for these friendlies and any money that's going to come in. One last story. According to IndyCar, and we're putting IndyCar at the back of the videos at the moment because I think David Ornstein did him a favour, and I think since David Ornstein's done him a favour, he's mostly been saying a load of rubbish because it gets debunked the next day. But IndyCar is claiming that Baleba has requested to leave Brighton in January, and he's set to meet Brighton officials in November to try and get a move that he wants Man United. Baleba's been crap for Brighton lately, and clearly Man United have got in his head. He's been pretty crap for Brighton lately. Apparently he wants to go. Man United still want him. We'll have to see what happens. But if he's crapping for 4 months straight, will Man United want to pay big money on a player that's out of form? I don't know. As much as we want Baleba, would we want to pay ridiculous money for him? I'm not sure. But yeah, the roundup of the news is in general. We've got a few updates, like Enzo Cannabich actually scored a hat-trick for France under-19s on his debut against Switzerland. He's currently on loan at the Sun. Obviously, we've got other stories about JJ Gabriel, Arsenal interest, nothing in that. We had the Athletics say earlier today that, the Glazers could potentially look to sell the club. And also there was reports that apparently Sporting tried to get Gyökeres to go to Man United, but he chose Arsenal, which is a bit of a blow. But actually, I'm kind of happy we've got Sesko over Gyökeres now. I'm liking the look of Sesko more this season. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Bye.